grifter and frauds are going to do grifter and fraudy things. That's what Donald Trump's doing this morning. As we've said, what he's been doing with the trade war against the world is all about market manipulation while we, the people, suffer. Here's what Donald Trump woke up and posted after saying a day or so ago, now's the time to buy stock, buy, buy, buy. That was his message to the oligarchs. That was his message to his millionaire and billionaire buddies. This morning, here's what he posts. 80% tariff on China seems right. Up to Scott B. So Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is going to Switzerland to have a number of meetings, including a meeting with the Chinese counterpart from the Commerce Department in China. And there are going to be trade talks that are taking place. So in advance of that, Donald Trump is saying 80% seems right. They're currently 145%. 80% tariffs against China would still essentially be an effective embargo, stopping all trade. Donald Trump is the arsonist who lit the world on fire with his disastrous trade war against the world. And now in the morning, he just kind of toys with the economy and manipulates the markets as well. 80% seems right. This is not leadership, folks. This is just vile behavior. It's so pathetic. Then Donald Trump posts in all caps, China should open up its market to USA. Would be so good for them, ! Closed markets don't work anymore. By and large, trade was happening before Donald Trump declared a trade war against the world. But here's the thing. Donald Trump lies about everything. And on a given day, he may be able to manipulate the market here or there. But as many of the top business people and economists have said, Trump's irreparably destroyed the American brand as being the safe haven for treasury bonds, for just putting your money, for investing in, because of this arbitrary and capricious and absurd behavior. Donald Trump then posts. It's like post after post after post. It's like, dude, compose your thoughts, be a leader, stand by your word, tell truthful facts, and stop with this chaotic posting crap. I think it was Governor Walz, from Minnesota, said leadership is not waking up and then tweeting things that make the market go volatile and harm people's lives. That's not normal. Donald Trump posts many trade deals in the hopper. All good, great, ! Ones, ! There's been a lot of media coverage also lately again on former President Biden. Have you seen all of those reports? I'm not going to really talk about it here. Suffice to say, they're still focused on Biden, who ran a very stable and successful and predictable administration with a booming stock market, with a growing GDP, with record job creations, with record low unemployment. We were the number one energy producer in the world. And the media is still, May 9th, obsessed with attacking former President Biden while you're just observing behavior like this. I think this is one of the reasons why the MeidasTouch network is growing so fast, and we're almost at 5 million subscribers, and our Substack, MeidasPlus.com, is the fastest growing in the world right now. Check it out, by the way, MeidasPlus.com. It's because we look at this and go, this is what you should be focused on, because what we're looking on right here with what Trump's doing, that's what's not normal, not even close. Then Donald Trump says, the problem with even a tiny tax increase for the rich, which I and all others would graciously accept in order to help the lower and middle income workers, is that the radical left Democrat lunatics would go around screaming, read my lips, the fabled quote by George Bush the Elder that is said to have cost him the election. No, Ross Perot cost him the election. In any event, Republicans should probably not do it. But I'm okay if they do. I don't know. I mean, number one, what does that even mean? Number two, you haven't paid your taxes. Okay, we got your tax returns after you fought not to release them. Multiple years, you literally paid $0. There were some years where you paid the filing fee of $750. And so you putting out statements like that when you know the MAGA Republicans are not going to increase taxes for the rich. And also you're saying the main barrier is people saying, read my lips. No, you want to go and know what Democrats are saying, what most of the people are saying. The chants are tax the rich. The rich people need to pay their fair share of taxes, their fair share of taxes. They shouldn't be paying less taxes than school teachers and truck drivers, factory workers, etc. Then Donald Trump, again, this is just such a lie. This is all this morning, by the way. He then posts, costs down, no inflation. And he puts that in caps. Very different from what the Fed and fake news media were hoping for. Let me be very clear, Donald. No deals, Donald. Let me be very clear. No one is hoping for inflation. Nobody is hoping for higher costs. We want to accurately report what the data is, and we want to improve our country. Costs are not down. How do we know that? Because if you leave your house, you know that. Or if you don't even leave your house and you look at the price of goods online, we know they're higher. When you say no inflation, inflation is rising. You can say no inflation over and over again. You are a fraud. You are a felon. You are a sexual abuser. We know that there is inflation and it is rising. That's a problem that you are causing right now. But it's lie after lie. Oh, and then there's this post. MSNBC, the worst there is on television, misrepresentation, is so far knowingly off in their statements about me and tariffs that it should be considered a major campaign violation. They are nothing less than an arm of the Democrat National Committee, and their untruths are incredible. Real losers. Their ratings are down the tubes, but the pressure on them doesn't give them the right to lie and cheat. Now, Donald Trump is a liar and a cheat. So what he does is just accuse others of lying and cheating over and over again. I have my criticisms of MSNBC, as I'm sure you do as well. But the segment that he was talking about, I believe on tariffs, was a good segment. MSNBC had on economics professor Justin Wolfers from Michigan University. It was a good segment and it was accurate. Let me just show you some data points right here. So remember earlier this week, midweek, when Donald Trump said that he, under no circumstances, he said, would he agree to lower the 145% tariffs on China as part of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's negotiations in Switzerland with China. Remember when he said this? Play this clip.
China says in order to have substantive negotiations, you have to bring down your 145% tariffs. Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
Mr. President.
But then shortly after saying that, Donald Trump said, buy stocks, buy stocks. That was his next message of market manipulation to his billionaire and millionaire buddies. Let's play this clip right here.
You better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. You know, if we get that, if you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, if it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, you had some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. You know, Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. Welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. It's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing, unrelated to today, but related in the sense that we'll do, if that passes, we'll do even more business with the UK. We'll have so much.
And as our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, says, art of the deal is raising the tariff to 145%, then cutting it almost in half. Despite the fact that China has made no concessions and has completely ignored you, Xi Jinping just sits back and laughs at our orange clown. Should also be noted this as well, and Jim Scudo reported this. A senior Russian senator has shot down Donald Trump's latest demand via social media, because that's how Donald Trump does this, social media demands, for an immediate 30-day ceasefire in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Quote, he is most welcome to do whatever he can do, but we have our basic interest in this crisis, Konstantin Koskichev, a member of Russia's Federation Council, the upper house of parliament, told CNN. As our editor-in-chief Ron Filipkowski says, well, Trump threatened additional sanctions yesterday if Russia didn't agree to an immediate ceasefire. This is the fourth time Donald Trump has done that, threatening additional sanctions, and this is the fourth time that Russia has rejected Trump. Trump continues to make threats while doing nothing, making us look weak and foolish yet again. Another point worth indicating in what I just read to you, you notice how Konstantin Koskichev is from the upper house of parliament. It goes to show you that even in Russia, though, and I'm sure you knew this, they still have the facade of a parliamentary system. And I want you to think about that because they're just a rubber stamp for Putin. The same way right now in the United States, yes, we have a House of Representatives and a Senate. Our upper chamber is the Senate, the lower chamber is the House. But both at this point under the MAGAs are a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. It's why there is authoritarianism here. And in my view, we're past the point of constitutional crisis. We have an authoritarian in the United States. And the question is, what are we the people going to do to make sure that we have midterm elections and make sure that we have a presidential election? And that's where we have to be thinking. But we have an authoritarian here. As they're saying in Norway right now, the Danish prime minister says you cannot spy against an ally after reports of U.S. spying on Greenland. Just other news this morning as well that's, I think, very important that I share with you because I don't want this to get lost and all of the other stuff. So Donald Trump is saying that he's going to end a program that provides billions of dollars to extend internet access in underserved communities, launched by former President Biden, because Donald Trump believes it provides grants on the basis of race. Here's the headline from the New York Times. Trump declares high-speed internet program racist and unconstitutional. Trump denounced the Biden-era Digital Equity Act as a woke handout based on race, raging in a social media post against the broad effort to improve high-speed internet access. As Senator Patty Murray explained, she goes, Republicans will have to explain to their constituents why this administration doesn't believe middle schoolers in rural districts should get laptops and internet. Finally, Detroit is not very happy with Donald Trump's fake trade deal with the UK. Here's what they're saying. A group representing General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis blasted Donald Trump's trade deal announced with the United Kingdom, saying that it would harm the U.S. auto sector. British car makers will be given a quota of 100,000 cars a year that can be sent to the United States at a 10% tariff rate, almost the total Britain exported last year, compared to 25% for Mexico and Canada and nearly all other countries. Now, when it was Treasury Secretary Howard Lutnick was explaining this, he said, well, Donald Trump really wanted to be helpful when it came to the Range Rovers and the Land Rovers. So he focused on them as opposed to the American-made cars, which we know are assembled a lot in Mexico and Canada, and the parts and the supply chain for a lot of American vehicles, Canada and Mexico. But Trump favored Range Rover, and that was the very small concession that was made to UK in this bizarre deal. Let me leave you with this so you can see one of the reasons Trump was ranting and raving at NBC. Here was Justin Wolfers describing the current situation. I think he says it perfectly here. Here's Professor Wolfers. Let's play it.
A really important part of this is to take the long view, which is the current world order in which we trade with each other. We make each other better off. As part of trading with each other, we go on business missions. We meet each other. We go for coffee. We meet each other's kids. that's really been a key part of post-war peace and prosperity over a period of many, many decades. So as much as I'm here to complain about the rising price of dolls, I worry much more because the damage to that world order could be much more lasting. The idea that trade benefits all of us is one of the reasons why actually one of the biggest complaints in the United States right now is not what China is doing to us, but what we're doing to us. That American factories can't easily buy the equipment they need from China. That's not because of decisions in Beijing. That's because of decisions in Washington. Trade does boost us all, but the problem with this is if we wall ourselves off, we're creating stronger incentives for the rest of the world to look elsewhere for more reliable trade partners and more reliable allies. And that's going to make the US a less central part of the global economy. If you're an isolationist, you might be okay with that. But the present moment has taught me to become conservative, frankly. The past few decades have been peaceful. They've been prosperous. And I want those to keep on keeping on.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're getting really close to 5 million subscribers together. So let's try to get there. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.